Hey everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel, or welcome if you are new. This is the Travel with Hayden YouTube channel. I'm Hayden, and in today's video, I'm going to talk to you guys about my tips for first-time cruisers. My first tip is to do your research. I want you to do research into every cruise line so that you find the cruise line that fits your needs, whether you want a party atmosphere or if you really want a relaxing atmosphere. And then I want you to really do your research into the specific cruise ship. So say you go with Carnival Cruise Line as your first cruise. I want you to decide whether or not the Carnival Celebration will be your first cruise, or if the Carnival Elation would be a better fit for you. Then I want you to look into your cruise ports. So if you're doing an Eastern Caribbean cruise with Carnival, a sample itinerary may be 7 days to Amber Cove, San Juan, St. Thomas. So you need to watch videos and read about each of those ports. And then a sample Bahamas cruise on the Carnival Elation would be a cruise down to Nassau and their private island of Princess Key. And a sample cruise to the Western Caribbean for 5 days would be Cozumel and Costa Maya. So you need to do your research. Make sure you do your research into the cruise ship, the cruise line, and the cruise itinerary that'll fit your needs best. And when you get onto the ship, you need to make sure to explore. My number 2 tip is to, when you board the ship, explore the cruise ship. Take the afternoon of the first day of your cruise to really get to know the layout of your cruise ship. This kind of will flow into the first tip, which is to research. You need to make sure you watch videos on your cruise ship, like cruise ship tours, cruise vlogs, cruise reviews. And when you get on the ship, see how the ship is for yourself. So you get a real good background knowledge of how your ship is so that you're not running around the ship lost during your week-long cruise. My number 3 tip is to turn your phone into airplane mode, basically either right before the ship sails away or while the ship is sailing away. Because as soon as you get into international water, you will get fees. So you need to make sure, even if during the sail away party, that you are making sure that your phone is in airplane mode, because you don't want to come back to your cruise and have a $600 phone bill because you didn't turn your phone into airplane mode. Even if you have the ship's Wi-Fi, you still need to put your phone in airplane mode and connect to the ship's Wi-Fi to use the app. Tip number 4 is everything is not free on a cruise ship. Some people that I've heard that do not cruise or have not cruised in a long time think that when you go on a cruise ship, it's going to be like going into an all-inclusive resort in Mexico. That is not the case. It may say complimentary or included, but that is just a small fraction of the things on board. If you go to the gift shop, you have to pay for the stuff in the gift shop. If you want a beverage and you don't have the beverage package, you have to pay for it. If you want shore excursions, you have to pay for the shore excursions. They do have free food options, but they also have additional food options. Like if there's some type of cafe, I know like on Princess Cruises, there's International Cafe, that stuff is free. But some of the cafes on board, the stuff is not free. Like Java Blue Cafe on Carnival, the stuff is not free. My 5th tip is a little bit of a controversial topic. Some people think you should book with the cruise line. Some people think it's better to book on your own. But you need, in my opinion, for a first-time cruiser, you need to have a plan. Shore excursions are a great way to have a plan, especially if you book it through the cruise line, which if it's your first time, I would definitely say book a shore excursion through the cruise line. But still do your research in the port, because if there is something that the cruise line doesn't offer that you do want to go to, that is within walking distance or within an easy way to get to, then you can do it. But just make sure you keep note of the time you have to be back, which is typically an hour before the ship is expected to leave the port. My 6th tip is to consider using a travel agent for your first cruise. Now, we used a travel agent that I'm not going to name in this video because they did nothing wrong to us, but we used a travel agent for my first 3 cruises, and now I pretty much book our cruises. So for your first cruise, or even your first, second, third, however many cruises you want, I would consider using a travel agent because they will do all the planning for you and they will keep you in the loop all the way up into your cruise, and they more than likely will check on you after your cruise to hear all about your experience. So consider using a travel agent because they know what they're going to be talking about and they will help you and guide you through the whole process. My 7th tip for first-time cruisers is to attend all the shows and activities that appeal to you. So a lot of cruise lines will have an app nowadays, or even some, they still offer the paper copy of the daily planner. I would make sure you go over that every night for the next day of the cruise, and you highlight the stuff you want to do the most. And I would definitely get involved in the activities you want to do, and I would definitely go see all the shows you want to see because you don't want to miss out, especially on your first cruise. You want to really see everything that cruising is all about and why so many people each year decide to take a cruise. Tip number 8 is to make sure that you have enough money for gratuities. I always recommend to just go ahead and add on gratuities before your cruise if you can, if the cruise line doesn't do it automatically. If you do not do it, you will have to tip each person yourself. It's just easier to go ahead and prepay the gratuities because you don't have to worry about having enough money to tip each person. You can still tip them even with the prepaid gratuities. You can still give them a little bit of extra cash to go with if they do an exceptional job in your opinion. I just find it way easier to just go ahead and click the button when you're booking to hit as prepaid gratuities so that you go ahead and pay for it when you pay your total price for your cruise. Tip number 9 is to have enough travel time to the cruise port. This is a very big one, especially if you are flying to the cruise port. So if you are flying, I would recommend flying in at least 24 hours before your cruise because you never know if weather can change your flight could get delayed, your flight could get canceled. And the one thing you don't want is to miss your very first cruise. So if your cruise line has a fly and cruise package, which most cruise lines do, I know Carnival's is Fly to Fun, and Norwegian, typically you can add their airfare to your booking. If you do that, they cover you. So you will be covered if anything goes wrong weather-wise with your flight. I don't know about cancellations and delays. I'm not very knowledgeable in the airline department, but I know that you will be covered in weather situations. If you are driving to the cruise port, I would recommend driving at least the day before. Now, if it's going to take you multiple days to drive because you don't like to fly or you don't have the money to fly, then I would recommend having enough time to get to the cruise port. Whether you drive halfway one day, halfway the next day, and then you drive the rest of the way the day of the cruise, whatever, just make sure you get to the cruise ship at your assigned time and on time because they will leave you. They literally do not care. They have a set schedule they have to stick to. They will leave you, and they will also leave you in ports of call. Even if all your stuff is on board, they will leave you. So make sure you arrive before, I say arrive before final call, because final call, they are looking for the last person, and if they don't show up in enough time, they dip, they leave. They do not care. And my 10th tip is to enjoy your vacation. Relax, it is vacation. If you are a planner, I get it, but just so you know, not everything is going to go to plan, especially when you're on a cruise ship. Things can change literally the next day. Things can happen. It's not often that things happen, but things can happen. So make sure you just are able to go with the flow, relax during your cruise, really have quality time to yourself on the ship, and enjoy your first cruise. And that is going to do it for today's video. I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. If you want some more tips, let me know down below. What are your tips for first-time cruisers? Leave a comment down below, and I will see you guys in the next video. See ya!